Yeah, guys, can you just confirm if I'm adequately audible? The screen should be visible because even I can see that on YouTube. But am I audible, or is there any lag in the audio? Cool. So we'll start with the process. Yeah. So let me just brief of the agenda of this particular workshop. What we have got. So the TCS Digital Interview workshop. What we have got over here is for all the people who have cleared all the rounds and are just waiting for the interview to happen over here. So it will be, of course, a virtual interview that we'll be having. So you might have got all the mails related to this already. If you have not got, you'll be getting it soon. So you need not worry about that as well. So I'll answer all your doubts. So I can see questions here. How many rounds will be there? What will be the duration? What will be the interview questions? I can see all your questions over here. So I'll answer all your doubts. So let me just move across with the things what I've planned on delivering over here. So meanwhile, if you have any questions, you can just drop it over there in the chat box, guys. I'll definitely help you out. Cool. So some of you might have finished. Yeah, some of you might be having it tomorrow. That yeah, all the best for you guys as well, and for everybody who's having it in the coming days. In the first place, I'd like to congratulate you for passing all the rounds in the past, and all the best for this round as well. So yeah, so let's just start how to crack this round. So we have done certain analysis based on the interviews that had happened yesterday and certain interviews that had happened today. So there are certain key things what you'll have to remember when it comes to your interview. Okay, so first things first, we'll have to understand what are the things that are required for you to showcase, or what are the things that you'll have to have when you're attending the interview. So certain documents is what they've mentioned in the email, and the same thing they have followed in the actual process also. So so the verification process, you'll have to give out certain documents. So the documents would be in the form of a soft copy. So you do not you know show your hard copy file to the documents. Of course, there'll be a webcam enabled process, right? But so you do not have to show it in front of the webcam. But you would have to share your screens and showcase a soft copy of the documents. All right. So one of the main document is your TCS online application form. So which would be available in the Next Step portal. So just go there, you can download all these documents, what I'm going to say. So this is one document, the TCS online application form, whatever you have filled it, the copy of it, the soft copy of it, and soft copy of all your marks cards or mark sheets and your certificates, right? So whatever you have submitted to them, so your 10th plus twos, all your graduation mark sheets of all the semesters, not only specifically related to your last semester, but all the semesters, right? So please have a soft copy of all these documents so that you do not have to fret about it when it comes to the actual process. All right, so this is about the mark sheets and the application form. So next up is a ID proof. So they will definitely be asking a soft copy of a ID proof. So you would have to showcase any of the ID proofs. So the famous one what we had seen was Aadhaar card. So that is pretty much evident, available with everybody, right? So you can spot any of your ID proofs, Aadhaar cards, PAN cards, or DLs, right? So this also they would be asking over there. So these are the key documents which you're supposed to be having when it comes to documents that you're supposed to have. All right, so for the verification process. Cool. And let me just check some of your questions. Yeah. Abhinav, I'll answer your doubt also. So you need not put that emoji of raising the hands. I'll definitely answer your doubt. So yeah, the declaration of your job, I mean, like the results will be out only after all the interviews are done. So they'll not be saying it out then and there. I just have to wait for the further notifications. I hope I've answered your doubt, Abhinav. All right. So next up, Next up, let's have a look at how many panelists were there so far, and what were the discussions they had when it comes to the panelists, right? So as far as we have analyzed so far, there were three panelists, okay, two being technical panelists or the HRs, and the third one being the normal HR, right? So two technical HRs and one normal HR person will be there as three panelists. So questions will be thrown at you from various backgrounds. So in certain amount of time, we'll be discussing that as well. So basically, there'll be three panelists. Okay, so if you have questions related to panelists, then duration. So most of we had questions related to duration. So all in all, the overall on an average, the duration was 45 minutes of time. Okay, so for some it was slightly lesser, for some it was slightly more. It went up till 1 hour also. But all in all, on an average, if I have to consider, it was around 45 minutes. So you can imagine if they are conducting the interview for 45 minutes, the things what they're asking is pretty much intricate. So we'll anyway be discussing about that as well. But just remember the duration is quite huge. So be prepared for that as well. All right. Uh, the resume what you have submitted or the documents what you have submitted, please have a soft copy of the same. So do not try to mix up the things over here, guys. So they have told whatever you have submitted, have a soft copy of that only, because they want to verify whatever you have submitted and whatever you're telling, is it correct or wrong. So that's why they want you to share your screen. And while you share your screen, there'll be in the background they'll be checking whatever you have submitted, is it correct or wrong. All right. So whatever you have done, just keep it as it is. If you have updated your resume, just keep it for some other time. Do not go to change it right now. Pranav, I hope I've answered your question. All right. Yeah, I hope I've answered that question. Scanned copies, yeah. Soft copies means that only, Vidya Nathan. So soft copy as in the scanned copy. All right. So PDF or whatever format you have it in, pic format, whatever format you have it in, you just have to share your screen, computer screen, and they'll be able to see it on the other side. All right. So that's what I meant by soft copies. Okay. Right. Prashant, let's see your question anyway. I have the answer for you. Mohammed Ashik, yeah, we definitely have seen cases like that. So yes, there is a possibility. Right. So next thing is the platform. So the common platform what we have seen so far is Microsoft Teams. Out of many colleges, the common platform what we had seen is Microsoft Teams. So if you are not aware of all the features of Microsoft Teams, for example, where do you mute, where do you where's the chat screen, or where do you enable the webcam, where do you start sharing the screen, there's a button for that. So please get familiarized with the platform. The platform is going to be Microsoft Teams. All right. So the most of the cases were Microsoft Teams. So just get familiarized with this particular platform. It can be easily browsed. You just have to click on Microsoft Teams, and there'll be a panel given. You just have to click on that and get just play around with all the options over there. You'll get to know all the features. All right. So next thing is technical specifications. What you'll have to have for your systems. So they've clearly told that there should not be any breakage during the interview. Okay, so they have requested in a very polite manner that if there is a breakage, will not be able to help you out because it's your own fault. So please make sure that you double check, triple check your systems, triple check your mics or audio jacks or whatever it is, right? Triple check your webcams. Okay, so if it's not working appropriately, I would advise you to have a system for one day from someone else, your friend, your cousin or colleague, whatever it is, right? So get a proper system which is working at all the time, have a stable internet connection, and a power backup. Okay, so ultimately what I'm trying to tell over here is they have clearly mentioned that you should not be having a breakage during the interview. Okay, so far there has been no issues as such where there is a breakage, but probably if there is a breakage, you might not be given another chance. Okay, so that is why technical specifications are very important. Just try understanding all the features or if everything is working fine. All right, only then you'll be able to get in appropriately. Good. So duration I've already mentioned, Rushikesh. On an average, the duration was 45 minutes. So anyway, cool. Let's go ahead. Selection, they are announcing the selection, the clear-cut results only after they finish all the interviews. So right now we will not be able to tell you what the ratio is so far. So Mohammed, I hope I've answered your question. So there were certain important concepts what we had seen in the TCS Digital Interview. So I just put up all the concept over here. So of course, all in all, they were asking questions from each and every thing, right? So they were asking questions from anything possible, but there were certain most favorite topics what they had picked when they were asking questions. So some of the concepts are cloud computing, AIs and MLs, artificial intelligence and machine learning, deep learning concepts, IoT, Internet of Things, big data analytics, cyber security, augmented reality. Okay, so this was the one. And certain concepts, let's say like fundamentals of programming. So you would have to know very basic things of programming in all the languages. So you cannot say that my forte is just Python. So please ask me questions related to Python. Of course, they'll be asking questions related to your specificity, but they'll also be trying to push you to the next level, right? So they'll ask questions outside your comfort zone, is what we have seen. So try having a knowledge of fundamental things regarding all the languages. What are the differences that happens when it comes to Python, Java, C, C++, right? So just try understanding all these parts. And then fundamentals of technical concepts. So when I say fundamentals of technical concepts, uh, you can expect questions like what is a greedy method? Can you explain greedy method, implementation of greedy method, dynamic programming, or linked list concepts, data structure concepts? These have been the questions what they have been asking, right? So technical concepts. So fundamentals, they have kept it basics to basics, but most of the students felt it was slightly trickier because they were not directly asking the definitions, right? So they're not asking you what is Stack Overflow. They're not asking you what is underflow, or what is directional graph, or what is complete binary tree, right? So they're not asking a definition over here. They're directly getting into the scenario based questions. For example, let's say you are pretty much aware with cloud computing, then they would have asked questions related to how is Amazon operating its cloud computation, right? So what is the storage facility it has? What is the computation capacity it has? What is the platform it has for computation? So all these are the scenario based questions. So they're not expecting you to be what they say, they're not expecting you to buy hard the things, but they want you to have a practical knowledge of what is happening outside. So just try googling things related to the advanced technology, whatever is out there, and that should help you out when it comes to answering these topics. All right, so let's see some of your questions what you've asked. Directly without the interview, you may not be selected. So Puram, we have not seen that possibility yet, but anyway, if your project is really good, then there are one or two very rare cases where they have selected, TCS has selected, but I don't think this should be very often. So you'll have to go through the interview process to get selected. Right, so cool. Naman, all the best. Yeah, we have seen questions. I mean, we have seen pathways from Code Vita. We have seen pathways from Ninja also to get into digital. But they are again very rare cases. I'm not saying that you cannot get into digital via Code Vita or via Ninja, but they are very rare cases. You might have to be probably exceptional in terms of your scores or in terms of your performance. So you cannot have that in your mind and sit simply, guys. So you would have to try your best in this particular interview as well. All right. Uh, yeah, love to answer your question. So they do not have any differentiation when it comes to technical and non-technical backgrounds. All right. So if you want to get into TCS specifically in terms of your digital package, what they're saying is, if you're good enough for our company, we'll be hiring you. So in terms of being good enough, the things what they expect a student to have is a fundamental knowledge of everything that's happening outside out there. So you cannot expect differentiation between a technical and a non-technical stream. The questions are going to be of the same level. All right. right? Uh, Yeah. So, Prarthana, to answer your question, verification and your interview is going to happen on the same day. So, your document verification will happen once you've entered into your screen of your interview process, right? So, first, the HR will verify your documents. The technical HRs will just prepare for the questions to throw on you, right? So, the normal HR will verify your documents, and then HR, once he has verified your documents, your question and answer session series, it happens, right? So that is how it happens. It's not after a very long day or very long time. All right. Yeah, Aman, I hope I've answered your question. Yeah, Prabhu, I hope I've answered your question as well. It's very much necessary to learn the concepts. You can not just have the knowledge of coding, guys. So all the other concepts are also very important. Projects, yes, yes. Let me just get into that. Mm. Yeah, Chandrasekhar, I hope I've answered. There are cases, but I cannot promise you that it will definitely happen. All right. Mohammed Aman, I would advise you to keep it the same what you had uploaded in your portal. So keep it the same. Good. Right. I'm talking about the verification, what they'll do related to your mark sheets and stuff. All right. So there will definitely be a verification done over there. Okay. Then they'll be going for the interviews. Okay. Okay. Then. You just have to go through it. You just have to go through the concepts. Just go through the concepts, guys. They're expecting you to have a basic knowledge related to this. Uh, Google is the best site. So Google, you ask anything, it'll tell you everything. So you can just have a look over there. Uh, Agan, I think I've answered your question. So you do not have to go in depth. Okay, so they're just asking basic concepts. So just go through it. If you fail in digital interview, will you be given a ninja offer? So it's not like they are promising you that they'll give you ninja offer, right? So it all depends on the HR. So it's not like a direct pathway. So if you fail digital, you'll be given a ninja offer. It's not like that, right? So if the HR feels like this person is capable, but not for this particular package, so there have been very rare cases, but yeah, very rare cases out of, let's say, 1,000, 2,000, one or two cases. All right, so that's a very rare case, but you can expect. All right, so cool. All right. So let's go ahead. Let's have a look at some of the questions which were asked in the 2 days interviews. So let's start with the technical interview questions. Then we'll probably go with if there were any HR interview questions. And at the end, I'll also tell you certain key points what you're supposed to remember. So meanwhile, let's try to answer all of your questions as well. So it's always better to practice questions related to, okay, this if you want to make a note of this, please make a note of this. There were pseudocode questions also, by the way, which were asked. So a person was asked to uh, make a reverse linked list. Okay, so how do you make a reverse linked list? There'll be a linked list given. You just have to make it reverse. So what is the pseudocode you'll be writing for that? So that sort of questions were also asked. So pseudocode questions will also be asked. So be prepared for the pseudocode questions. Apart from these theory-based questions, all right. So apart from these, they can ask questions related to any particular language. So I'm just repeating this again. You cannot say that my forte is Python. So please ask me questions related to Python. You should be familiar with the other languages also. So be it Java, be it C, C++, the OOPS concepts, right? So just be familiar with that. Siddhartha, level of coding questions in NQT, I think this is not the right platform to ask, but anyway, to answer your question, it's going to be medium and between medium to very difficult. Okay, so two questions will be there, right? So medium to between medium to difficult. So I hope I've answered the question. Yeah, others also. All right. No, there is no GD round as such, Srishti. So there's just a normal interview process that will happen. So there is no GD round. All right. Definitely yes, Aditya. So if you get a interview call from CodeVita, it's always better to have a backup, right? So if you're 101% confident that you'll crack CodeVita, then it's okay to not prepare for anything else. But if you want to have a backup, if you want to secure your pathway, then I would definitely advise you to prepare for the other exams as well. All right. Uh, no, Shrikar. So as I've answered this question before, they're not having any distinction between any of the non-circuitry and the circuitry backgrounds. So ultimately, they're looking for a person who's having knowledge, right? So they're not looking for a person who is from specific background. So if you are a person who's having good knowledge related to all the updated questions over here, updated concepts over here, probably they'll be selecting you for the company. So you need, they're not having any uh, you know liberal, they're not asking liberal questions when it comes to the other branches. Yes, Aman, they can ask questions related to writing a code. So that's what I was saying. So pseudo code questions, we have seen that they've asked. Screen share, yes, they'll be doing. So we have seen one or two cases where they were asked to share their screen and type the code down over there so that they'll be able to see what the person is typing. Yes, we have seen one or two cases. So be prepared for that as well. But most of the times we have seen cases where they've asked to just explain the pseudo code. So pseudo code explanation can be done just like that, right? So via audio. But we have seen cases where they were asked to write the code, but compilation was not done. They'll not give you any compilers to compile, and that, so test cases and all were not there. But yes, they have asked to type down the code as well. So be prepared for that as well, guys. Uh, Right, Abhishek, the pathways, we do not have any specific pathways. So it's always dependent on your performance. Okay, it's always dependent on your performance. We definitely do not have any specific pathways. For example, from here you'll have to go to the other pathway, right? So the other what is that package? You do not have any specific pathways. It all depends on your performance in your interviews. Yeah. Umesh, to answer your question, will we be having one round or two rounds? So far what we have seen is they have asked questions related to technical, but some of them were not asked questions related to HR at all. So they were just asked questions related to technical. Some of them were asked questions related to HR. So what we are anticipating is there might be one more round, purely a HR round. So that's what we are anticipating. But anyway, if they feel like, okay, we have got certain set of candidates who are very good enough, they might not go for the normal HR. But what we have seen is some of the students have been just asked technical question, no HR question. Some of the students have been asked a mixture of both technical and HR questions. Okay, so we are anticipating that there might be one more round, right? Sneha, if you have not got a mail officially from TCS, then I think it's better to talk to your training and placement officers. So everybody who will get the interview call, they will get the mail from TCS. So I have seen the mails specifically from the students. So you'll get it from TCS domain. So if you haven't got it, then probably you might have not got the call yet. So yeah, you might have to slightly wait for it. Cool. Yes, DBMS, web development, everything, guys. So you can see here there's nothing that I've left. Okay, so only two or three topics I might have left over here on the screen. So everything what technology is involved right now in this particular era, I have put it over there. All right, so just know everything about anything that is possible for you to know. So knowing anything and everything is important for you to crack this particular round. There's no negative marking as such. You're just having a technical, I mean, like it's a normal interview, right? So you're not writing a exam over here. So there's no negative marking or there's no positive marking. So of course, marking will be done by the HR's end, but there's no marking scheme as such what they follow. So it all depends on the answers, whatever you give. All right. So 45 minutes is the duration, Raj. I hope I have this. I'm saying it for the third time. Uh, yes, Sneha. Okay, so let's just go to the questions. The questions what they had asked. So I'll just display some of the questions what they had asked. Just try to understand and analyze the questions. See if you can answer these sorts of questions. So what are the uses of cloud computing? So this is a very basic question, but if you do not know what is cloud computing in the first place, you will not be able to answer this, right? So now there are a lot of companies which provide cloud computing. Amazon is there, Google is there, VMware is there, then we've got IBM for its servers, right? So we just have to understand, first of all, what cloud computing is. Then we'll have to go about explaining them what is the use of cloud computing. Then when it comes to cloud computing, they had also asked questions related to parallel processing. So if you can just take down certain keywords, what I'm saying, I think you can prepare on the question sets what you'll have to follow. So cloud computing is the keyword what I've used over there on the screen. Next one is parallel processing. So just try to understand what's parallel processing over here. All right, so parallel processing, as in if you want to use certain processing capacities via different systems in different geographical locations, you can do that. So in depth, if you want to know, you can just Google it down. So yeah, so you can try doing that as well. Next up, what are some of the top companies that provide cloud services? So I've already answered this particular question. So some of the most famous ones are AWS, that is Amazon Web Services. Then we have got Google Cloud Services, Google Cloud Computing, that is. Then we have got IBM, VMware, Azure, right? So just try understanding these. Then one more question was list down the applications of deep learning. All right. So now, as I've rightly told, you can try understanding the concept of ML, but it's really huge when it comes to machine learning and deep learning or artificial intelligence. It's really huge. So there are certain courses also which are worth of lakhs. So we can understand how depth you'll have to go when it comes to machine learning. But what I would advise you to see is a certain project papers or certain YouTube videos which are based on what exactly deep learning would do, what exactly would machine learning would do. So basically, it's machine learning or data science. It's a part of all these, right? So we have got AIs, artificial intelligence, neural networks, deep learning. Then we have got data analytics. Okay, so data science. So all these are you can say subsets or a part of each other, one in all. So you just have to concentrate on the peripherals, right? So what exactly are these concepts and how exactly are they used? So applications of deep learning, if you ask me, you can see neural networks. So neural networks and deep learning, they're somewhat same. So right, when it comes to deep learning or neural networks, you can try concentrating on AI bots, right? So you might have heard about Sophia. So the AI bot, what they had built. So all the programming logic, what they have put over there, the machine learning concepts, what they put over there, it's based on deep learning. So the bot tries to analyze the emotions. The bot tries to analyze what is the question you have asked. Then it tries to reply. So a very simple example, if I'd like to give you, some of the bots, famous bots like Siri, Google Assistant. It's not exactly deep learning, but one part of deep learning is what I can say. So this is about a list of applications what you can speak about deep learning. So just concentrate on the other various applications. Also try Googling as much as possible. Right, Yashwant, to understand your question further, so the pre-placement talk was done by TCS Digital, people, or was it done by your college faculties? So you can just drop your answer over there. Object detection, correct. So Mansi, yeah, object detection is also there. So nowadays they have come up with the projects which will, detect if you have worn a mask or not. So this is one of the recent projects what I had seen. So you can give a list of that also. So the AI will detect if you have worn a mask or if you have not worn a mask. If you have worn a mask, there will be a green square given on the screen. If you have not worn a mask, there will be a red screen given on the screen. So these are the things what you can have. So let's go to one more question. Okay, applications of deep learning. So it's the same thing. Next, we have got linked lists and their operations, right? So we have got a lot of operation when it comes to linked lists. So you can insert, delete. So this they have asked in a particular. So they are not asking in general when it comes to these concepts of linked list. They have specifically asked if you want to add two nodes, okay, to this specific set of nodes. So how do you add it? So what is the pseudo code? So what is the code? What are the commands that you'll be using? What are the methods you'll be using? So what structure keyword you'll be using? So just try to understand the concept of data structure in depth. Okay, so people were asking, should I read it in peripherals or in depth? So concept of data structures, they want you to know in depth. The other ones, they of course understand that you cannot prepare in depth for all the other concepts. But if you have prepared for programming language, you should have prepared for data structure side by side when you had started preparing. But if you have not started, if you had not started preparing, I think you can start. It's very late now, I understand, but you can anyway have certain knowledge rather than having zero knowledge over that, right? So Yashwant, yeah. So as I told Yashwant, so there were cases where people have been taken into the other pathway, but it's a very rare scenario. So they cannot guarantee you that all the people will have this particular choice. It's a very rare case scenario. All right. Sahil, all right. So bounding box. Sorry for the terminology. So correct. All right. So I hope I've answered some of your questions. Yeah, networking related questions, cyber security related questions were asked. Of course, yes. First imposter. So OS questions, yes, they were asked. Right. Yeah, I hope I've answered the question related to OS and networking. Yeah, there will be. Nandesh, if you have cracked the, I'm not able to understand your question. Preetham, I think you have mentioned as microcontrollers. I think that was a typo. So yeah, apart from questions related to whatever pure technical concepts that I had put, right? So all those concepts. So let me just display those again. 1 second. Yeah. So all these concepts what I had put, they had also asked questions related to your projects. So it's not like they'll totally deviate from whatever you have got it in your CVs, or they'll totally deviate from what is your area of interest. In fact, 50% of the questions which were asked from whatever you have put in your CVs. All right. So in your CV, if you have written that you are a person who likes data science, or if you are a person who likes machine learning, then they'll start asking questions related to machine learning. Then they'll go a little bit further towards in-depth related to deep learning, neural networks, and all that. So if you are a person who has put up that this is my project, and I am much more interested in microcontrollers, or I'm much more interested in any other projects what you've done. If it is interesting, they'll definitely start asking questions based on these as well. So that's what we have seen. So be ready for 50% extra question, which is not mentioned by you. So that's what I'm ultimately trying to tell, right? So let's say if the interview goes on for 40-45 minutes on an average, half of the amount of time, so let's say 20 minutes, they'll be asking you questions related to your CV. So whatever you have put it in your CV, 20 minutes or 15 extra minutes, they'll be asking questions based on the general things, whatever I've mentioned so far, right? Whatever is mentioned on the screen. All right, so this is what you'll have to take care of. So be ready with all the concepts, guys, advanced concepts. Uh, yeah, Rajiv, I've hope I've answered that question. So they're not having any distinction between technical and non-technical groups. So they're asking similar questions to everybody. So please be prepared. You do not have to give a detailed code, Rishikesh. They have asked pseudo codes in most of the cases. In most of the cases, they have just told you to give the pseudo codes. So let's say you have just told it as a word of mouth, or they have been asking for one or two people to share their screen and type the code. This is very rare now, but you can expect such questions as well. All right, cool. So let's go ahead with a few more questions to have an understanding of what was the level of questions. Okay, so next up, I was talking about pseudo code, right? So when it comes to pseudo codes, there was for one student, what they had asked is how do you go about, uh, doing certain changes on the live page. Okay, so people, I think you should be knowing this. If you do not know this, let's just try to understand this. Try doing this now on your screen, right? So on your live page, you'll be having something called as inspect element. So from there, you can try doing certain modifications. Of course, it will be temporary. But while you reload the page, move, it'll just vanish, right? So there were questions based on this also. So if you say that web development is my forte, or you've got web development as my project, on that sorts of answers, then they've also asked students to open some of the pages. So let's say Wikipedia related to Pentagon. Okay, so we're just messing with the Wikipedia page. So based on the background code what they've got, so we can get into the background of this using inspect element, right? So they had asked students to change certain fonts or change certain design of the paragraphs. So all these things were also done. So they're just trying to identify if whatever you're saying is correct or wrong. So they want a hard proof of uh, whatever you're saying is correct or wrong. So be prepared to showcase if you're saying is correct or wrong. Okay, so pseudo codes and coding would also be required for this. All right. Uh, Right, so I cannot say that not having knowledge. So to answer Prashant's questions, I cannot say that not having knowledge in the other parts of the technical the playground is a negative concept, right? So negative impact. So it's a general thing what you're supposed to know. So if you just sit for one entire day, or if you just sit for half a day and try Googling on the basic concepts of the leading technology out there, right? So we can just Google it out, and then you can start analyzing the peripherals. You do not go with the depth, right? So you do not have to go with the entire depth of all the concepts. So I'm just asking you to go with the peripherals. All right, and what you have put in your CV, just remember that, and based on that they'll start asking questions in depth. Okay, so that at least you should be knowing the questions in depth. All right, so next up is a technical scenario based question. So I had given you one technical scenario based question in the beginning, right? So one of the questions what they had asked is if there is a cloud computation done, and if you are in Amazon, how would you be doing it, right? Or if you are in Google, how would you be doing it, right? So have you ever operated on cloud computation systems, or cloud storage systems? Okay, or Google cloud computing, have you operated on that? So these were the questions what they had asked. So be prepared with the technical scenario based questions. So let's say there is a cyber attack in your laptop. Okay, so the means of cyber attack was phishing. So what exactly had happened? Tell me about it. Or the means of cyber attack was through a server. So what exactly had happened about it? Tell me about it, right? So these are certain technical scenario based question what they had asked. Uh, what is the minimum number of students that they'll hire from each college? So there is no particular count as such what they'll take, Prashant. So they just want a qualitative set of candidates, right? So they do not have a particular count is what we have analyzed so far. So if they feel that the candidate is really good, probably the HR's mindset, it all depends on the HR mindset, right? So if they have this particular caliber, they'll get selected. So they have not kept any number in their mind as such so far. All right. Uh, yeah, Mansi, yeah, they can ask you questions related to back end and front end. So yes, they can. Aditya, it's always better to focus on the higher thing. So I think you should concentrate on Code Vita. Uh, yeah, Grandi Akshay, there are cases. So as you have rightly put up over there, so this was one case what they had done for top performers. But this time, will they be doing it is the question. So we cannot expect them to do the same thing every year, right? So that was one case scenario. But yeah, we can expect them to do that as well. Uh, right, I'll come for the HR interview tips, Adarsh. So let me just finish this part. Right, algorithm-based questions, I think I've explained, but anyway, I'll tell you some more. Right. So I'm just picking three questions which I can see commonly on the chat screen, guys. First thing is mechanical and CS based questions. CS branches, will they be asking the same question? So I think I've already answered this, but I'm answering this again. They are not having any distinction between core and IT based student, right? So non-circuitry and a circuitry based student. Be prepared for similar sorts of question, even if you are not from a circuitry background. Okay, to answer that one question. Second question, what I had seen over here is, will there be any negative marking? Again, was the question. So no, it's just like a normal interview, guys. So there'll not be any marking scheme as such. Okay, the answers what you'll give, you'll decide whether you'll get inside the company or not. So mic should be on during the test. Of course, they are expecting you to speak, Madhunisha. So of course, mic should be on. Yes, definitely. So some of the scenario-based question I have already explained. So if I have to talk more about scenario-based questions, there was one scenario-based question where they had asked questions related to SQL. All right, so they had given a scenario that you are building a database for a particular company, and you've got certain datas. So there were certain specific related to the datas. I'm sorry, I forgot about that. But they had asked you to build the database and filter related to certain parameters. All right, and find certain specific names related to certain parameters. All right, so how would you be doing that? So this was one more thing what they had asked. So SQL, MySQL. All right. uh, yeah, so this is okay. This is one common doubt what you'll be having. So just like TCS, what they had a infrastructure check for their interviews, will digital also be having it? So far they have not done it. So we are anticipating that it will not be there further also. So what we had seen for NQT is they recently had conducted something called as an infrastructure check test, right? So where all the candidates were sent a mail and a link. They had to log in over there. They had to check if all their systems work fine, and they had to log out. That's all they had to do. But TCS Digital, for its interviews, they have not done it, and we are anticipating that they'll not do it for the future rounds also. So there'll not be any infrastructure checks over here, guys. All right. So to answer Divakar's question, yeah, if you put ML in your resume, they'll start asking related to all the algorithms what you'll be using ML. Okay, so uh, your sigmoid functions, your Bayes theorem. Okay, they might go into depth. Then probably they might get into the concepts of libraries like data frames. Okay, what are the modules you'll be using? What are the packages you'll be using? MATLAB questions, or how do you analyze certain sample space. So then after that, they might get into deep learning. Okay, so these are the questions what I can ask Diwakar. Next, to answer some of the other question. Yes, Akshat, that will be great if you do. Okay. Vishal, I don't think so. So what sorts of verification are you talking about? So the verification, what I told is it's a double check verification, right? So they'll already be having your certificates. Okay, during the interview, there'll be one more verification. So I'll just take you across through one of the total interview what I had heard from a student. So the student, so this is how it happened. Okay, so assume that I am the student and I'm telling you what had happened to me. So I had got the mail. Okay, I had got the mail and I had to prepare for this and this specific slot. Okay, duration of time. So let's say 1 o'clock in the noon or 4 o'clock in the evening. So after that, what I had to do is I had to sit in front of the system. I had to do a check. I had to get into Microsoft Teams. I had to do a check, and after that is done, I had to spot my ID card. Okay, and also show my face. So this was one of the procedures what I had heard from a student. All right. So I had to spot my ID card related to the college, and I had also was asked to share my screen and show all the documents that were required. So the documents what I've told you so far was your mark sheets, your semester sheets, then when it comes to your 10th and 12th sheets, your ID proof. All right. So these are the things what I had to do. Then later they started asking questions related to the topics what I had put in my CV. So 50% of the time out of the on an average 45 minutes was spent on asking questions related to the concepts that are present in my CV. Okay, so in my CV there were topics like I'm interested in ML. My project is based on deep learning. So they started asking questions related to all the deep learning algorithms. All right, so after this, there was a normal HR who just asked me, where do you stand or where do you see yourself after certain times of years? So I answered to that particular question. And after this, the technical HRs started asking questions which are not related to me. So when I say not related to me, if you have put certain topics in your resume, let's say ML and certain other things, they'll start asking questions which are not related to you. For example, let's say cloud computing, or let's say cyber security, testing parameters, okay, cyber lits, or all these other things which are not related to MLs and AI, right? So they'll just check if you know if you have the knowledge which is apart from your comfort zone, right? So this is one thing. And after this, I had to close the session, and they said that wait for further mails for further details over mail. So this was one scenario what I told you of one particular student. So similarly, whatever you have put it in your what is that CV, the questions will definitely be asked from there. So know your CVs, guys. All right. So puzzle based questions, yes, you can expect if you have put your character as a problem solver. Definitely you can expect questions based on puzzles. So be prepared for that as well, Karan. Uh, you can expect very difficult questions, Vishal. So if you have put very complex topics in your CVs or your resumes, you can definitely expect questions which are pretty intricate. Uh, okay, so how many days before the interview will I be getting the mail? So most of the students, what I had talked about, they said that they had got the mails just 3 or 4 days before. There were some cases where they had got at least 2 days before the interview. So you'll not be getting it very early. So need not fret about it. That's the thing. All right. So okay, Madhav, I had answered this question already, but anyway, for you, whatever you have submitted in the portal, right? Just keep it as it is. Okay, do not try to update or anything. Uh, Shrishti, yes. So I cannot say that they'll be asking very high level questions. So they'll check how much you know. So whatever you have put over there, so they'll just check how much you know. and then they'll go for probably higher levels. Mm. Okay, now people are saying that I have put this in my CV, I have put that in my CV, but I do not have touch on that. Uh, so this is probably what you have to deal with, guys, because whatever you have put it in your CV, it says that you are proficient in that. Correct. So that is why you put it over there. So this is why exactly companies will have the last check, right? So are you saying the truth, or are you just putting it there on the CVs? So if you're put there on your CVs, please be prepared to get the questions accordingly. Okay, now you cannot back out. So you're in the last stage right now. All right. Harsh, I think I've answered that question. If you are in your final, it's not mandatory to add any projects, but I think, of course, definitely you'll be having certain projects by now, right? So if you are in your final year of your curriculum, I think 1 or 2 projects at least you'll be having done. So if you haven't done anything, I think that will be a backfire for you. So just have something in your minds that you can speak related to your projects. But I think most of you might already be having certain projects done already. Uh, all right. So, okay, Satyam, if you have not done any projects, at least have an idea about what project are you going to do in the future. All right. So, this is for everybody, not only Satyam. If you have not done any of the projects so far, so you can expect them to ask. So, what are you doing? Are you planning to do anything in the future? So, if you're planning to do anything in the future, what is the idea that you've got to do with this particular context? All right. So, you can just prepare for that. Uh, yeah, sure, Prabhu, I'll do that. 1 second. Uh, sure. All right, so let me just take you across to other questions. Okay, so the next thing what you'll have to concentrate on questions based on your project. So I've spoken a lot about projects, but anyway, let's give a last idea over here. What are the things that you're supposed to concentrate on when it comes to your projects? So please be sure of what you have written in your CVs. So in your CVs, if you have written that I've done this particular project, you should be knowing what it is first of all, right? So even if it is a group project, what you have done, you will have to know what are the key parameters for this particular project, how it works, all right? So please know all these things. Uh, right. All right. These were some of the questions related to the technical part. Of course, there were questions related to big data, SQL, cloud computing. Then questions related to data analytics, machine learning, AI. But again, I cannot specify that these will be definitely the questions what they'll be asking, right? So questions related to data analytics, where let's say you have a sample space, how will you try to divide and predict the probability that whatever data you've got is correct or wrong? So this was one from data analytics. Big data, they started speaking about why exactly do we have big data, and certain scenario based questions where you've got a specific data environment. So what would be the capacity, what would be the optimal capacity for you to have when it comes to your particular server or your particular database? Then questions related to cloud computing, if you ask me, which one do you think is the best cloud computing platform? Why do you feel so? Then if you have to perform this and this operation in specific amount of time, which cloud computing would you go for? Right. So this was one. And yeah, so if you have a account on your what is that? Um Really sorry, I forgot the name. Yeah, I'll just try to recollect that. But anyway, so they have asked portfolios. So if you have portfolios related to uh, your resources, what you have put up over there, I think that should help you out. Mm, Okay, I'm just checking your questions, guys. Pulkit, as I told, they're just checking for students who have knowledge. They're not checking for streams. So fingers crossed for you, buddy. Yeah, if you've done a project based on the entire website, I have told already, right, Mithili. So there were questions where they had asked to open a live page, do certain modifications to the live page, and they had also asked to implement certain objects into the live page using inspect element, or they'll not say use inspect element, but they'll directly say that open a live page, do this and this. For example, if you open a Wikipedia page, they'll try to ask certain picture, change pictures, or they'll ask to change certain paragraph context. Right? So that was also seen. Not LinkedIn, Prashant. Yeah, Anurag, if you have mentioned MySQL, be prepared for the basic commands. So first thing, so once you're okay with the uh, basic commands, then you can start going for the higher things. All right. So be prepared with the basic commands, guys. Android projects, yeah, definitely you can ask. So one question was related to a Android person. So there was a student who was an aspirant of Android projects. So one question was, if you have stored YouTube videos. So this is again a practical question what they had asked. If you have stored YouTube videos, right? So we cannot actually take it out directly like a file. So the question was, how do you do it? Where will it get stored? And if it does not get stored in the system, where does it exactly get stored? Because we are able to play it offline, right? So this was one of the question. So next thing is yeah, Arman, I was talking about GitHub. Correct. Thanks for that. So GitHub repositories, I think that would help you a lot because the interview is going to be virtual. So if you have put your projects in as a GitHub repository, the software codes, whatever you have used, I think that will also help you out, because there was one such case where he had to explain the code, or he had to explain the entire project, and he had requested the HR if he can show the share the screen and show the code over there, and it worked fine for him. And yeah, this can also help you. So please try to put it over there on the cloud, GitHub repositories, or anywhere, right? Uh, Satyam, I believe this is not the right platform to ask questions related to TCS NQT. We anyway have put up videos based on that, Satyam. So in the same face prep channel, you can have a look at it. Uh, no, Ibrahim, not a negative impact, but please try to understand in detail what exactly the project is about, what you have done. All right, cool. Definitely yes, the butterfly बिल्कुल पूछ सकते हैं. So be prepared for that as well. So that's the basic thing what they can ask, right? So बिल्कुल पूछ सकते हैं वो, if else follow, yeah, they can definitely ask. Shriram, can you just tell me what question I asked? I have asked a lot of questions. So which one do you want the answer for? Software development lifecycle, yes. SDLC, Vamshi, if you're asking about software development lifecycle, yes, you can anticipate questions. So be ready with certain models, right? So we have a lot of models when it comes to SDLC. So be ready with the different models and what are the differences. V models, iterative models, in implementation models. Then we've got a lot of models, right? So be ready with the differentiation, spiral models, right? Project is on ML, will it give a positive impact on HR? If if your project is based on certain advanced topic, that is not the right way to impress an HR, if you ask me. But if you try to explain what your project is, or which is based on the advanced project, that will definitely impress the HR. So irrespective of your what your project is, even if it is a very simple project, okay, if you're able to explain, or if you're able to give a right explanation of why you have done that particular project, that should definitely help in impressing the HR. All right. So do not worry about if your project is very advanced or if your project is very small. Even a small app can do wonders a lot of times. Even a big AI project can do a lot of wonders a lot of times. So try putting it in very simple terms so that HR will be impressed. All right. Yeah, you can give Swankar definitely is not a problem. Right. The role of TCS hiring through TCS Digital, right? So first things first, here the package will be different, and then the projects what they'll be giving you once you get inside TCS, it will be totally different. All right, so you'll be given higher level projects. So when it comes to ninjas, there'll be lower level projects, right? So that's how it works. Pranay, yes. All right. Cool. So one last time, I'll show you the topics which I had put across for the most asked concepts in TCS Digital when it comes to technical aspects. So after this, I'll just discuss 5 or 10 minutes more related to the HR questions what they had asked, and then certain key points. Then probably I'll be closing the webinar. So I think the points should be visible to you in some time. If you can just take a snapshot, or if you can just remember the topics, that'll be great. So out of all the other topics out there, just try concentrating a little bit more on the concepts what I put up over there on the screen. All right. So after this, the HR questions, if you ask me, let me just show it to you. All right. Yeah, definitely yes. Mithili, whatever you have posted in your CV, those questions 50%, 50% something else. All right. Yeah, Prashant, you would have to download from your TCS Next portal your application form. So whatever application form you had filled, right? So you'll get a copy of it. So if you go to Next Step portal, you'll be getting a copy of it. Have it as a soft copy so that you can share the screen and get the verification for that. Then whatever documents what you've submitted in terms of your certificates, be it your 10th plus 2s, your graduation certification, undergraduation, whatever it is, all the semester certificates, and that should suffice. Then also Aadhaar card soft copy should be there, or any ID proof. Okay, so that should be there. I hope I've answered that question. Yeah, Sanjay, I would advise you to revise based on your project. So OOPS, DBMS, OS, data structures, SQL, just have a look at SQL also. Then have an understanding of all the other things that are out there. Okay, big data, ML, AI, all those things, cloud computing, testing. Okay, so just have a peripheral knowledge of all those. Ananya, definitely yes, the number of codes should not matter over here. So you should be ready with the explanation. All right, so I answered a lot of questions over here related to what your doubts were. So let me just continue with the presentation. So when it comes to HR-based question, I can say out of 10 questions what they ask when it comes to the HR-based question, at least 7 to 8 were scenario-based questions. So again, over here, they want to analyze how exactly will you decide when it comes to your scenario-based, I mean, when it comes to certain specific circumstance, right? So one of the question was you are in a team of 5 and you're heading a project. So if you are asked to delegate tasks to everybody and they're not willing to do it, so how will you request them to do it, or how will you manage this particular situation? So this was one scenario based question. One more scenario based question was let's say you are heading a project again, the turnover is in crores, and because of certain malfunction in your code what you have written, there is a huge loss to the company. How will you try to rectify this? All right, so this was one more thing what they had asked over the scenario based. When it comes to your what is that HR based question, right? So HR questions, there is no specific resource where you can prepare from. So all the answers you will have to do it then and there within fraction of seconds. So even if you prepare for a very long age, right? So you'll not be able to crack the HR questions sometimes. So that is how it will be. So you just have to be yourself when it comes to HR based question. So scenario-based question is the very famous question, very famous things or very favorite things is what I can say when what we had seen so far. So yeah, okay, I can see one person spamming here related to the role, software engineer. Yeah, I hope you know the package. So it's going to be 7 LP and plus some bonus. So yeah, definitely yes, it's going to be related to software engineering. So you will be given certain projects which are of higher level, Prasad. Okay, I hope I've answered your question. Uh, all right. So, Mithili, I have told certain scenario-based questions, right? So, scenario-based questions, I cannot answer the questions then and there because whatever scenarios they give, it pops up then and there. So, we will not be able to predict what is the scenario, what they'll be asking. So, anyway, I've given answers to questions like how will you be managing or how will you be delegating tasks to others? As in, first of all, you're supposed to approach them in a very polite manner. Say that these are the tasks, and if we do this, our team will be in the next level of performance, right? So this is the polite way in which you can do it. Or if they do not agree on doing this, then you can try escalating the issue to your higher up, your manager, and then try to delegate the tasks or then try to do the things accordingly. All right. So these are the two ways in which you can do it: the polite manner or the what is that indirect way in which you can do it, or the other way around. The second one was second scenario. What I had given was there's a code the error, right? So because of that, your company is moving under bankruptcy. So how will you solve this problem? So this is a very simple problem. You do not have to worry about it too much because codes can be patched overnight. So you might have seen that updates will be there for every particular app, every particular system. But anyway, there will definitely be a drop in your stocks or drop in your financial aspects for one particular span of time. But this can be fixed, so you need not worry about it too much. So if you are a very good coder, you'll fix the code, or your team will fix the code. They'll release the patch, or they'll release the updated version or the update, and as soon as they click on that, the code will work fine, or everything will work fine, right? So this is how we can answer the second scenario-based questions. So apart from this, the common questions what they ask, right? So be prepared for common questions, guys. Like, tell me about yourself. I don't think I'll have to answer to these questions. So these are like standard questions what you'll have to be prepared for. So tell me about yourself. You should be at least ready to speak for 5 minutes. Okay, trust me, guys. I'm giving you the fixed number. Be prepared for at least 5 minutes. Okay, so none of the HR will go beyond that because they'll not be in a situation to listen to you more than that. But there are certain cases where the HRs will not stop you. Okay, if you start speaking about yourself, if you start explaining about yourself, they will not stop you over there. So if they do not stop you over there, you should not stop. Right. So that is the ultimate key when it comes to telling something about yourself. Okay, so you can go on speaking about what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses. Always keep your strengths up, hold higher. Okay, keep your weaknesses low. Even if you have certain weaknesses, try giving certain explanations where you're trying to overcome those weaknesses. For example, if you're lethargic or if you procrastinate all the time, how are you trying to overcome all these things, right? So with the weaknesses, give some explanation where you're trying to overcome all these weaknesses. With the strengths, give certain explanation where these strengths you have implemented when it comes to your actual life, right? So these are certain things what you can use when it comes to telling about yourself. Then the other questions, standard questions, what you can expect when it comes to HR interview rounds are, yeah, you can expect questions related to your skill set, whatever put. If you're a problem solver, as somebody had rightly asked over there, will they be asking puzzle questions? So of course, if you're a problem solver, you should be good with any sorts of problem, right? So be it a maths problem, be it a usual problem, or be it a problem which can be sorted by communication, right? So anything you should be okay with. Let's say you are a person who says that you're very good working under pressure. So if you're a person who is very good working under pressure, They might give you a scenario where you are delegated with 5 or 10 tasks together. So let's say you have to give a presentation based on a project. All right, so you have to give a presentation based on a project, but your project is not ready yet, and the client is asking you to present it already. You just have 5 or 10 minutes. What will you do in this particular situation, right? So this is a pressurized situation. If you just say that, okay, I do not have any other go, I'll put a leave and I'll go to my home and sit over there, that's it. Okay, so you cannot give answers like this. So be prepared for whatever you have put it in your CV, and be prepared for whatever you give as an answer to tell me about yourself, because based on your answers they'll be asking the next questions. So whatever answer you give, choose your words very carefully, guys, because they'll just pick certain words from your answers. They'll frame the next question. All right, so this is one more thing. I think Aman had yeah, so okay, what should be the answer for are you placed in any other company? So the if you're not, okay, there are two possibilities here, Pranav. So if you're placed in any of the other companies, you can say yes. If you're not placed in any of the other companies, you can say no. Now you cannot just stop with yes or no when it comes to interviews. So of course you'll have to start explaining it. So if you're placed in any of the other companies, you can say why you were placed in that particular company and why you're attempting to get into TCS Digital. So if you're kept that as a backup option, you can just say that my primary goal was to get into TCS, but anyway we cannot have one single pathway when it comes to the current world scenario, because there are a lot of layoffs going on, a lot of job insecurities are there. So I just wanted to keep the other company as the backup. So anyway, I am concentrating more on your company, so you can just try to answer like that. So if you have not got any other job opportunities, what you can try telling is, since I was, yeah, so these are the two ways of being diplomatic, right? So since I was trying to get into only your company, I had not concentrated on any other companies. So of course, I am pretty confident and not overconfident that I will get into your company, and I want to get into your company. So that may probably be the reason why I couldn't concentrate more on the other companies. So that is the reason why I have not got selected so far. All right. So if you have any valid reasons, like let's say you missed an interview, you can also say that. And while you say all these incorrect things or the wrong things, what you may have done, you also should be in a position to explain all these things. So if you have told that you missed the interview, you should be in a position to say that why you had missed the interview. All right, so please explain your answers, guys. Okay, very, very important when it comes to interviews. You cannot just stop with 1 or 2 word sentences. Okay, so if they give you one word, you should be able to speak for 5 minutes. So that is how you should be when it comes to interviews. Okay, speak fluently, that's it. 12 to 12:45. Yeah, definitely, Mithil. What is 12 to 12:45, Arman? Right. So if we are not sure about the answers to a question, what do we do? Okay, beautiful question over here by Shreya. So if you're not sure about the answer to a question, what do we do? For example, your forte might be Python, but the interviewer might ask you the same code to be written in Java. So what will you do about it then? So what you can say is, as Python is my forte. So if I'm asked this particular question, how I would answer this particular question is, as Python is my forte, I can definitely assure you, sir, that I will be able to answer any of the questions what you throw at me related to Python. But as I'm slightly not so confident on the other languages, I definitely will try to answer this question, but I may go wrong in this part. Then you can start answering whatever you know related to that particular concept. So you cannot directly say no to any of the questions, Shreya. All right. So let's say that you are asked to write a code in terms of overloading, or in terms of Java concepts or collections, right? So you cannot say directly that, okay, I do not know what collection is. Anywhere, if you have heard anything related to collection, anything related to the word overloading, you can just say it out loud. All right. So that's how exactly you're supposed to deal with it. We have been told that there'll be no, Arman, they have not done it. So it's going to be two different things. All right. What if they ask, why should we hire you? Yeah, the standard question again, Pragati, why should we hire you? So this is again unique to every individual, right? So we cannot have a standard answer for this. you have to analyze why you want to get into TCS. So for example, if they ask me this particular question, if I am an aspirant of TCS organization or the company, what I'll say is I want to get into TCS because the way the company has been following all its standard practices, or the way the company wants to uplift the entire nation along with the upliftment of its own, that has been quite fascinating for me, and I want to be a part of your organization, as I'll get the opportunity to do the same thing, right? So having said this, I believe I'm also capable, and I'm also meeting the characteristics of the job role what you are searching for. So I definitely feel that I should be hired in your company, sir. Right. So this is how you can answer to the question, why should I hire you? So I'm not saying that this should be your answer. You can always try to be diplomatic, be you, right? So be you guys. So do not try to copy anybody, be yourself. All right. Right. TCS people, I think they are going to communicate via mails. But anyway, you can expect her reply. Cool. Right. So what if you have got into Amazon and Google, and you still want to give a TCS digital interview? All right. Uh, okay. So if you have got selected to Google and Amazon, I don't think there is a, you know, okay. So I don't think there is a necessity for you to get into TCS. But anyway, if you want to get into TCS, even though you have Google and Amazon, you want to, put it back and you want to get into TCS, you can see that you can try answering that. All right. So even though I have got a package of so and so, which will definitely be higher than TCS Digital if it is about Google and Amazon. I have come to TCS Digital because this is my dream company, and from so and so age or so and so time, I have been an aspirant of your company. I have been a follower of the things what you do in your organization. So this is the reason why I want to get into your company. All right, so that's how we do it. All right, so yeah, Tanavia, thanks. Cool. So this is about the HR questions. Now let's have a look at the key things what you're supposed to prepare when it comes to uh, you know your interviews. So I'll just change the slide. Good. So I think you're able to see it. So there are certain key things what I feel that you should definitely have a checklist as before you get into the interviews. So documents, okay, I'm stressing this a lot of time, guys. Without the proper documents, they would not be allowing you, right? So just have your documents, ID cards, and admit what's that application form. So soft copy of your application form, please have it. And in the mails, what they've told is if you have missed the interview, there is no possibility of rescheduling it any way possible. All right. So please do not miss your interviews, guys. Keep checking your mails. Okay. It might be 1 or 2 days, every morning or every night. Have a a turnaround, or have a habit of checking your mails. All right. So next thing is tech setup. So technical infrastructure setup. You probably would want to have a triple check or a double check on your power backup, your internet, your webcams, your mics. Okay. Please do not use system audios, guys. Okay. So that is the worst thing that can happen. At least have a simple microphone with a audio jack, or you can use a USB headphone. Okay, do not use Bluetooth headphones. So they'll do a lot of disturbing things when the interview happens. We have seen it personally. So do not use Bluetooth ones. Have a wired one. So if you do not have a wired one, you can just borrow it from anybody for 1 or 2 hours or 1 or 2 days. All right. Know your CV. So know your CV as in whatever you have put it over there, just know it. Okay, so if you have put something in your CVs related to your projects, and the questions asked based on that, if you're not able to answer, then there cannot be anything worse than that, right? So you are the person who have updated your CV, and you're supposed to know it. All right. Then when it comes to fundamentals of everything. So I've just put everything because that is what is happening right now in the interviews. So they are literally asking anything and everything possible. Okay, so as I've told rightly in the first part of the present this particular workshop, 50% of the question or the 50% of the time duration they'll spend on the things what you already have in your CVs. Okay, whatever you put in your CVs or what is your area of interest. So 50% of the other half will be based on the things what you are not comfortable with. So they just want to check how good are you with things. So know your CVs or know the fundamentals of everything. Okay, so you cannot stick to one particular concept. Okay, try having a thirst for knowledge. I think that should sort things out. Keep checking your mails. Okay, so that should sort things out with the problem of not getting intimations related to interviews. Have a habit of checking your mails early morning and once when you go to your sleep in the evening or in the middle of the day. Okay, so 3 times I think that should suffice. So that you'll be in the know of what's happening with your life, right? So that should suffice. Uh, Leon is asking a question: if I get placed in Ninja, will I get a digital offer? It's not 100% pucka guarantee, but there have been scenarios, there have been cases, but not everybody will get it. So the company will decide based on what they'll decide. Only the company will know it, Leon. How many days in advance will you get the interview mails? The on an average, the number I would say is 3 or 4 days. Okay, there are cases 2 days also, but on an average, I can say 3 or 4 days. Uh, yeah, Utkarsh, I'll just display it. Let me just finish up. Yeah, I'll definitely display it. 1 minute. Utkarsh, I'll display it. Please do not spam. Right. Correct. Leon, that pathways are there. So through Code Vita, through Digital, through Ninja, so they're all interconnected. So there have been pathways. So based on what they decide, till now nobody were able to analyze. So there have been pathways. So based on your performance, they'll try to analyze certain things and they'll try to give certain opportunities to people randomly. So if you've got it, congratulations, Leon. No, if we do not clear digital, direct interview and all, you cannot expect Kalyan. So you'll have to go through the process. And specifically, national qualifier test, it has been turned into an employability test this time. So there are a lot of other parameters also when it comes to NQT. So yeah, you cannot directly expect to get into the direct interview. Yeah, Akila, so far what we have seen is they had conducted interview on Microsoft Teams. So that is what we are anticipating. But please be prepared for the other famous platforms also, like Google Meet. Google Meet, they might not do it. But anyway, Google Meet, WebEx. Yeah, these are the famous things what you'll have to be aware of. Higher studies. Okay, I'll answer your question. Shivangi. They'll not ask you to upload your CV, but of course the option will be there. But they'll not ask you to upload your CVs. They might probably ask you to. They'll already be having it, right? So if I'm not wrong, they might ask you to share your screen and show your CV. They'll not ask you to upload it. All right. Documents, yes. Manoharan, documents. So when I say documents, you'll have to have your application form. So 5 documents, just keep in your mind. Application form, all your mark sheets, starting from your 10th till now, all your mark sheets, all the semesters, Aadhaar card or any identity proofs. All right. So is that it? Yeah, that's it. 3, not 4, just 3. And ID card, please have your ID cards. Yeah. Yeah, Bharat, correct. So they're conducting on multiple platforms. So the famous 3 are WebEx, Google Meet, and Microsoft Teams. So please be prepared for these guys. Yeah, Prabhu, correct. So as I told, it all depends on the interviewer's perspective. So if you have given questions appropriately to the HR, right? So he'll also be in a feeling that, okay, this candidate needs to given one more opportunity. Then they might ask you to get into the lower package, or else they might not ask. So it's not related to everybody. So it's again HR related, scenario, Prabhu. Gausalya, if you do not know entirely about any specific topic, I would not advise you to put it over there. Please be, if you put it over there in your CVs, you can always rate yourself. So in your CVs, there'll be certain format called as 1/4 format, right? So in your 1/4 format, as in the entire screen will be partitioned into two parts. So 1/4 of the part you can speak about your skills, and in that particular skill set, you can rate yourself, bubble sorts of rating or star sorts of rating. So based on that, they'll be able to analyze how much you know. Okay, so if you have used different resumes, I think, yeah, the recent one, what you had used in the next step portal, that will be considered. Okay, do not try to change it further, Srishti. I don't think that will work fine. Uh, Grandi, yeah, you can definitely speak about it. At the end, if they ask, do you have any questions? If you feel like you should be asking this, yeah, definitely go ahead, because it is ultimately related to the organization. But what I can anticipate the answer to be is, uh, what I can anticipate the answer to be over here is, I can anticipate the answer to be, we will let you know about it. So that is what I'm anticipating. But anyway, you can ask this question, Grandi. Actually, not a problem. Abhinav, they've just started it yesterday. So yesterday, today also there were certain interviews. So they have started it in a staggered fashion. So I'm not sure on what basis they have started it, but you'll definitely get the dates soon, Abhinav. Please do not go to update anything, guys. Okay, do not go to update anything, your certificates or anything. While you're showing it or you're displaying it on the screen, you can try saying that, okay, this is my updated one. So if you want to see my updated one, this is the one. This is what I've uploaded in the portal. All right. So do not go to update in your platforms directly. That might backfire sometimes. Uh, Certificates, if you have given, yes, please have a soft copy of it. So anything related to your online courses or anything for that particular manner, please have a soft copy. What is the answer if they ask any questions to me at the last? I'm not sure what you're asking, Prabhu. So I think what you're asking is, do you have any questions for me? Is what you are asking, is it? Right. So probably I've answered this, Prabhu. So if you have any questions, you can definitely go ahead and ask them. One common thing what you can ask is, how did I do? So again, the answer, what you can expect for this is, we will let you know about it. So if the HR is in a very rush mood, he might say this. But if he's in a very good mood or she's in a very good mood, they might start explaining you what is the thing that has what has to be changed, or what is the thing that has to be improved when it comes to your performance. All right. So I hope I'm still audible. Nihal, there has been a case where they asked to, show the resume, but they will also be having a copy of it. So that's what I'm saying. They'll also be having a copy of it. But if you say that you've got an updated version, so then you can always go ahead and say that, okay, this is my updated part and resume, and then you can share it with them. Uh, Yeah. So, Srisha, we are anticipating it to happen in two parts. So, certain cases, there have been students where they have asked only technical questions. Certain questions they have asked only technical plus HR questions. So, we are anticipating that there'll be one more one. But anyway, let's just wait and watch. Shubha Lakshmi, it's always better to do that. Yes. Srisha, yes, it you can expect it to come this month itself. 50% of the questions what they'll be asking, Manoharan, will be based on your CV. All right. So yeah, guys, I've given you a lot of tips related to what you're supposed to prepare on. So just keep these things in your mind, the things to remember part. I'll just show the topics which you're supposed to prepare on. So if you can take a snap of this, I think I'll go for the previous slide where I had put all the detailed topics. And we have also put up an article based on these. So you can see our article also. It is put in faceprep /articles. You can go to faceprep.in. You can see the article based on the TCS Digital Interview. So these are the topics what you'll have to concentrate on. I'm not saying that these are the only topics, but these are the major topics what you'll have to concentrate on. So when I say fundamentals of programming all the languages, I mean it, right? So you'll have to know literally all the languages, the basics, fundamentals of technical concepts, data structures will be involved in this. The dynamic programming concepts will be involved in this. Algorithms will be involved in this. Pseudo coding part will also be involved in this. Okay, so please be prepared for this as well. Okay, so do not lose your confidence. So people who are from a non-circuitry background, they're saying that I'm almost seeing it as an impossible task to crack the interview round furthermore. So do not lose your confidence, guys, because if you have the capacity in you, you will definitely get selected. So it should not matter to you whether you're from a circuitry background or a non-circuitry background. So please be ready with that. Okay, please be ready with all the things. All right. Yeah, Bhakti, as they have told, have a look at your mail. I would also advise you to do the same thing. So once everything is done, please keep checking your mails. So 3 times in a day, so it should suffice. Once early in the morning as you wake up, okay, in middle of the day, and towards the end of the night. Okay, 3 times should be sufficient. So do not keep on checking. That will also break your minds, and you'll not be in a situation to concentrate on your preparation. So that's about it. All right. Cool. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. So I hope everybody who has come to this particular session, you get selected in the drives, and we'll have good news to hear from everybody, and specifically related to our students and everybody, all the students who have come to this particular session. So yeah, do well, guys, and do not miss your interviews. I'm repeating this for the 4th or 5th time. Please do not miss your interviews. Please have a check on your mails, and have a look on your the standard questions. Okay, that should suffice, and yeah, that should suffice. All right. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. I put Japanese in the known language. Is there any questions regarding this? Japanese, see, they're ultimately related to, if you know the coding languages, Japanese or Spanish. I don't think they'll give a big deal about that. So yeah, if you put it, you should be in a situation to explain it to them. So yeah, all the best, Mohammed. So thank you, guys. Thank you so much. Okay, thank you. Have a great evening. Bye bye. Take care.